This is the Denku podcast. I'm your host, Tayamu Denku. It's brought to you by Cypher Den Music. And tonight, special guest, UFC Hall of Famer, Godfather of Ground and Pound, Pride champion, first UFC heavyweight champion, upcoming in his celebrity boxing match with Montel Griffin. We have Mark the Hammer Coleman in the building. What is going on?
You there?
Yeah.
What's up, buddy? I'm doing good, man.
That's what's up, man. So let's jump into the upcoming fight you got with Montel Griffin. Let's talk about that real quick before we even get in anything historical or whatever. But I mean, what jump started this for you to get back into it? I mean, obviously it's obviously the idea of once a fighter, always a fighter. You know, whatever you're passionate about, that's what you always are gonna want to do and go back to. Because I mean, you know, you officially retired from fighting a long time ago, but now you're stepping back in the ring, getting in shape. I mean, what jump started you to wanna jump back in there?
I just January 1st, I partnered up with Liver King, and I promote the carnivore diet, living the 9 ancestral tenets. I just decided I'm going to be the best version of Mark Coleman I'm going to be after taking 12 years off, doing nothing but drinking and smoking and just killing my body. I just did a 180, and now I'm going the opposite direction. I'm trying to be the best I can be, and I feel amazing. I'm putting in sometimes 12-hour days, sometimes 16-hour days. My energy is endless, and it's just something I can do. I never really retired. I had to get a hip replacement. I was 44. I had to get her hip replacement, and I just assumed it was over. And I went pretty far the wrong direction. I got 2 years and 4 months sober, recovering alcoholic and drug addict, and that's the proudest thing I've ever been of myself. Prouder of that than anything I've ever done in my life.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome to be able to turn, you know, something going down, turn it right back around and bring it into something positive. I mean, that's a beautiful thing, man. And you know, I definitely will be tuning in for your upcoming fight. Crazy opponent to me. Montel Griffin. Basically, when I think of Montel Griffin, I think back to the controversial fight that he had with Roy Jones, where, you know, he gave Roy Jones his first ever loss. And I was a big follower of Roy Jones back in the day. So jumping into that, I mean, with your main background being MMA, do you even think that I mean, you're obviously ready. You're ready. I saw the videos, man. You know, I keep track. I've been watching the videos, the boxing, the punching. What do you think has been your best sparring partner so far?
I got a lot of them. I mean, what do you mean? I just spar with whoever's there. I hit hard, so I'm very dangerous. I can throw every punch there is, so I'm getting better every day. I'm not ready yet, but I will be ready November 4th.
Yeah, man.
It's going to smother him, man. It's three 1-minute rounds. I'm going to smother him. I'm going to be in his face. He's fast as hell. He's lightning fast. He's going to be running. I'm going to have to catch him, and I'm going to have to make it dirty as hell. I'm going to be dirty boxing. I'm not going to stand there and play his game. But I'm bigger, stronger, and I hit a lot harder.
Yeah, man. So after this, I mean, what do you think's gonna happen after this? Do you plan on doing anything more after this, or is just like your, you know, like something for you to prove to yourself that you can step back in the ring with anybody?
No, I got bigger plans. I'm looking to do some MMA fighting. I'd like to fight Tito Ortiz or maybe Chael Sonnen.
Mm.
boxing or MMA, Muay Thai. It don't matter. I like to fight either one of those two guys, but I'm looking to go to Russia and fight Jeff Monson over in Russia. That would be badass.
Mm. Yeah, man. You were definitely a monster, man. I've paid attention from the early days. You got to fight in what a lot of these people aren't completely used to. You got to fight in a UFC tournament style where you get constant opponents to win the whole shit. Like a lot of these people nowadays in MMA, they're not used to that type of battle. You know what I'm saying? Like you came up in that shit. To me, that was always. I think it's dope. I've been paying attention to MMA for a minute, and I always thought that tournament style. I thought that was the. I think that's the hardest type of fight for anybody to go through a MMA tournament. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Um,
it was very cool, but probably not probably not feasible these days. But it was very neat to be able to. Yeah, you had to use a lot of strategy. You had to protect your hands and shit to get through to the second round. But I got better as the night went on, and it's it's not feasible right now. One fight. I mean, it could be feasible, but a lot of people would get hurt, wouldn't be able to make it to the second round. So it is what it is.
yeah, yeah. I had a question from Amy, who's actually out here. She actually wanted to know um, about your recovery treatments like stem cell, hyperbaric. Do you feel that improved your body for this upcoming fight?
Yes, without it, I get stem. I got stem cells, but I do hyperbaric chambers 3 times a week. Once a month, I get my blood cleaned out, where they clean it out, put it back in your system, and that takes away all the inflammation, all the toxins. I do vitamin bags. Hyperbaric Therapy of Dublin, Ohio. They've been a fantastic sponsor of mine. Without them, I couldn't be. There's no way I could do these 12-hour days. But I recover like a champ. My sleep, the way I eat, the way I sleep, and the way I stretch, the yoga and all that shit, and the stem cells, the hyperbaric chamber. I feel amazing. I feel great.
That's what's up, man. And then I also had another question from Reed from Menominee Falls out here. He also does cross training, fitness or whatever. He actually wanted to know um, how does the different trainings compare or differ between um, like the different styles of mixed martial arts, and do you think that there's a more grueling workout for certain types of trainings? Did I lose you?
What's the question?
Oh, so it was he wanted to know if there was a type of training that was harder or that differed between different types of mixed martial arts, like whether the wrestling training is harder than like a jujitsu training or boxing training. Like, are there comparisons between any of them? What's the hardest thing to train for? Basically, is what he was asking.
And you got to do it all, but you make it as hard as you push yourself. I mean, if you're doing boxing, they all could be the same as far as pain and suffering, but it's up to you to push the pace. But I always say wrestling is the hardest. There's nothing harder than wrestling, but MMA spar, where you include wrestling, boxing, jiu-jitsu, when you include all three of them, that's the best way to get better. But you got to push the pace all the time. It's always going to come down to cardio and who quits and who don't quit.
Okay, yeah. Um, and he also was asking, who do you think your toughest opponent was all time that you've gone against?
Definitely Fedor Emelianenko, but I went against 10 world champions. I went against Nogueira. I went against Couture. I went against um, uh, Krokop, Shogun Hua, Dan Severn, Don Fry. They were all tough as hell. Everybody I fought was tough. I never got any easy ones. I didn't want any easy ones.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely how you get better. Always fight the top dogs out there, man. And you were one of them. You know what I'm saying? You were grueling with the best, man. What do you think? Do you think that was there a difference in your training around the time that you were training? Was there a difference between training for UFC, Pride, like, or was it all pretty much wrapped up in the same thing? Like same type of training was going on at that time for
Yeah,
both
it's all
of
the same, man. A fight's a fight. I mean, you just train. You fight. You when you're going to fight, you gotta fight in practice. You know, it's all the same. You got to mix it up. You got to do a little bit of everything. I run. I swim. I shadow box. I lift the weights. I hit the pads. I wrestle. I do MMA. You got to do it all.
Yeah, man. Um, we've actually had I
Going to
saw
beat up.
recent I saw recently you I don't know if you had a workout session with her or you were trying to help bring her up, but we actually have had uh Britton Hart on our platform multiple times. Um would you ever consider, I mean, you know, obviously you said this isn't it, this upcoming celebrity boxing match is not it for you. Would you even consider diving into that the bare knuckle at your age?
I've considered everything. Of course I would. Why not? I'm not afraid of anything. So yeah, I love bare knuckle boxing. It's a great sport.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely enjoyed watching that. Do you hold on? Do you have any crate? I always thought it was cool looking back that you got the chance to compete in the Olympic Games early on. What I mean, what was because I was a track and field athlete. I ran against people that were in Olympics in my time. Um, and I always thought it would be cool to be a part of something like that. I mean, what did that feel like at the time that you were a part of that? Like being able to go, like to represent the country. Like, do you have any crazy stories or memories from the Barcelona games you were a part of?
Yeah, that was the dream as a kid to be win the Olympic gold. I didn't quite win the Olympics, but making the team was probably top two greatest athletic achievements of my life. Where I completely lost control when I made the team. It was epic. It was amazing. Um, what an honor. Um, I wasn't going to go to the opening ceremonies, but because it was so hot and everything, I just wanted to skip them. But the coaches made me go, and I was so glad. At the end of the day, I was so glad I did because the opening ceremonies they were badass, man. It was about as cool as it can get. But yeah, Olympics were the dream.
Yeah, man. And I mean, obviously you were a gold medalist, Pan American Games, uh, which is also a huge, definitely a huge achievement there. Um, yeah, man. I guess I got just a random fun question. Like, do you have like a is there three top songs because I'm a musician. Is there 3 top songs that might be on Mark Coleman's mixtape workout list?
I love music. I'm big into music, but I'm not big into the names and the names of the bands. I just flip through, and if it's a good quality song, I'll turn it up and listen to it. But I love Pink Floyd. Um, you know, hey, Taylor Swift's pretty hot right now. No, I like a little bit of everything. As long as it's good quality, I can roll with just about anything.
That's what's up, man. Um, what about um? So I've also played a lot of the uh UFC video games. When you when they create those games, how does that work? They put sensors. Did you have to go in for every game? Because you're in like pretty much every game. Because you're like the legend. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have to go in for every game, or do you know if they just replicate and then you just give them permission to use like the like what you did maybe the first time you had to do it, like where they put the sensors on you or whatever to mimic your move sets?
I don't remember ever doing that, so I don't know how they do it. But
Oh,
yeah, it's they made me my character is soft and fat. I'm not happy at all about that. I was one of the most shredded
yeah.
fighters in the business. I was shredded, and they got me on there as a soft fat guy. Pisses me off.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, yeah, you were monstrous, man. Monstrous. Um being able to I mean, when you step in, you just do you win pride with at open weight. I mean, that's crazy. So like you could fight anybody, any size, right? Like that's how that worked.
Open weight, anybody, yep.
The thing that
But
was the thing that was
too
crazy to me
big,
about
too big is no good. So
yeah. The thing that was always crazy to me, my first memory, I don't remember the name of who it was, but my first memory of ever watching a Pride fight was, and the crazy thing about it is that there's really not many rules. Like it was just straight fighting, because as opposed to like a lot of the rules that they added in over time. And I'll never forget this. I saw this one fight where there was this guy, he kicked somebody in the thigh, and literally probably 10 seconds later, the guy's thigh gets this gigantic bruise on it like this. And then a minute later in the fight, I see the guy on the ground, and he like kicked the dude in the head with the same foot that he left that mark on his thigh like that. And I just remember thinking like, holy fuck, that is crazy. Like that shit was crazy to me. Like, was there? I mean, yeah, it was just crazy. My first experience watching Pride was just crazy like that. So like I can only imagine like walking in there, like what it would be like. Because there was once upon a time. I mean, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There was once upon a time. Um, I wanted to jump into MMA. Like I was talking to the Pettis brothers. I went to school with them actually, and and then when they told me like the type of workout routines I would have to do, um, I felt like me personally, the balance wouldn't be able to be there for me, just because of like I do music heavy. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of like my thing. And then I dove into podcasting stuff like that. But I mean, what would you say to someone who is questioning, like, even though they want to do it, what would you say to somebody that's questioning wanting to dive into fighting, mixed martial arts, wrestling, like a younger generation? What would you tell them that they would need to do to take it on for full force?
Well, you got to get into wrestling first. If you can't wrestle, you can't fight. It's the hardest martial art to learn, so it takes years and years to learn that, and just go from there. Wrestling will teach you everything about toughness and getting mean and handling pressure. So get into wrestling. I don't know. Get into wrestling. Do it all. Turn it up. You don't just play fighting. You fucking either do it or you don't.
Yeah, man. That fight that you were supposed to have with Brock Lesnar before you got injured. Um Man, I was there ever a talk of a rematch of that happening?
No. Too late in my career. That'd have been cool. That'd have been a tough one.
Yeah. And I mean, I saw you did wrestling over in Japan for a while. Did you ever consider, you know, taking a step, or did you ever get asked to dive into any wrestling promotions around the US?
My name came up quite a bit, but they had heard I was a bad seed and they were afraid to work with me. So it is what it is. I would have killed it. I'd have been a superstar.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man, I mean, you know, I don't want to keep you too long tonight. Because I see you were just getting done doing your workout thing. Um, how hard is it to balance a fighting lifestyle with having a family?
It was hard. I mean, my career started and I had my kids. I was 31. I had my first two daughters when I was the champ, and threw a curveball into the whole plan. So unless you got a cooperative wife or the mother of your kids, it's going to be a challenge because I'll put my kids first, but it costs me a lot of training time. So hold back on the kids until your fighting is about done.
And then I had one more question from Anthony out in Milwaukee. He wanted to actually know if you could kind of discuss more in detail about how crazy the battles were with Don Fry, the Pride and the UFC fight.
Well, I found out that I wasn't the toughest man in the world. I was way better than Don Fry, but the courage he showed, the willing to never quit. I thought I was going to have to kill him in the first fight, and they didn't want me to win that fight. The UFC definitely wanted him to win. They gave him every chance they could to survive, but you'll never see a fight like that again because they should have stopped that a lot earlier, probably. But Don Fry's the toughest guy I ever fought. A good friend of mine. I love the guy, and that was an epic battle.
Yeah, man. Um, when you started Team Hammer House, you know, you had a lot of warriors in Team Hammer House, Randleman, Baroni, um, lots of others that walked through the door. Um, what what pushed you to start your own fight club, basically?
Just came natural, man. I had people asking me if I had any fighters, one fighters to come in the show. I had all kinds of friends that could fight, my wrestling buddies. So it was just kind of obvious I had to do it. That was great. Team Hammer House was it took away a lot of my training, concentrating, focusing on those guys, took away from myself, but it was worth it. Team Hammer House, one of the greatest teams ever assembled.
Yeah, man. And let's talk a little bit of new UFC. Do you still keep track of like UFC fighting? You watch all the
Yes,
fights?
yes.
Um, so did you have any expectations of the outcome in the recent Adesanya Strickland fight? Did you think that was gonna go that way at all?
Well, everybody figured Izzy was going to win. Not everybody. There was a few people that had money on Strickland, but I definitely gave him a chance, and he rose to the occasion, and he put the lights out. Man, he did an amazing job. I love Strickland. He's a great fighter. His stock just went through the roof. Now he's going to get what he's earned, what he's worked hard for. His conditioning is second to nobody, and he'll be around for a while. He's going to be hard to. He's a tough fight for anybody.
Yeah, man. And then the other one I wanted to talk about real quick is the upcoming announced um John Jones Stipe fight. What are you thinking? What direction you think that one's gonna go?
Well, Jones is a favorite for a reason. He's the GOAT right now, but I'm actually helping Stipe in his camp a little bit. Uh, if anybody can beat Jones, Stipe's the man, but it's a huge project. But Stipe's got all the skill and all the talent to do it. Hopefully, his body can hold up and he can get himself in top shape. And that's the fight I'm waiting for. That's the biggest fight ever. Whoever wins that's going to be the GOAT.
Oh yeah, man. I can't wait for it, man. Um well, Mark the Hammer Coleman, man. I mean, I appreciate you stopping by on the podcast, man. Talking some history, talking about your upcoming fight, talking about your conditioning. Um, you know, turning things around into being sober for 2 years, 2.5 years. Amazing, man. And obviously I can't wait to see your fight with Montel Griffin. And I hope that leads into much more for you, man. Back into MMA, doing big things. And yeah, man, I appreciate you stopping by the Denku podcast, man. Talk up some things, man.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, man. I'll be in touch. I'll get some clips up. It'll be dropping soon. And yeah, man. Good luck in the upcoming fight, man.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
You too, man.